I was sinking alone. I wish someone would reach out for me and heed this chill in my bones. Today it feels like the darkness wins. Tomorrow who knows what'll come. Struggling to keep my head above water, but my waterfalls are in time. Don't you feel me crying? I'm washed away by the falls. Every day it feels like I'm dying. The waves crash my back to the walls. I'm washed, I'm washed, I'm washed away by the rain. Ooh, they feel so much pain. Make the sky fall down, make the sky fall down on me. Yeah. Ooh. Oh. Yeah, yeah. Stop.
Afterglow was a luxury I didn't typically indulge in. My gun not being within reach was a habit I avoided at all costs. Once Matthew had drifted off to sleep, I returned to the poolside, dressed, looking for my gun. I had just wrapped my hand around it when I heard Mickey Tilford's voice, followed by the stench of his cigar. I didn't understand why men liked them, or women for that matter. Seems my star producer wants what he can't have. He was walking towards me. I stayed still, flicking the safety off. I could have warned him. I could have made him plead for his life. I could have done any number of things. In this situation, he thought he was the predator and I was his prey, to do with as he pleased. He was mistaken. I was the evil that men and women perpetrated, and he was about to meet his much deserved yet untimely end. How about we save some time and you come to Daddy? How about you eat these bullets I'm about to unleash on your unsuspecting ass? He stopped abruptly. He smiled that disgusting smile. You kill me. You kill any chance of a musical future. My father warned me about men like you. Young lady, you don't have the balls to kill a real man like me. Ariel, don't. Matthew appeared behind him. Listen to your boyfriend, sweetheart, or I'll end his career too. Because of my history with Matthew, I'll give you 3 seconds to vacate the premises. You think you scare me. I raised my gun and pointed it at him. 1. He started walking towards me. 3. I unloaded my weapon. Fortunately, the silencer was already attached. The 3 bullets that entered his head, blowing the brains out the back of his head, hardly made a sound. His body fell over like a tree being cut down to size. I saw Matthew, white as a ghost, about to vomit. I walked up to him and handed him a card. Call this number. He'll take care of everything. Tell him we need a mistake to disappear. He grabbed onto me and held on for dear life. I'm sorry. I have no idea how he got in here. He said, but was barely audible. Call the number. I have to go for now. He steadied himself and cleared his throat. I noticed blood spatter on his face. He was staring straight ahead, his eyes glazed over. You understand, this is who I am. I am not that little girl who slept in your lap. This is what I do. This is what I live for. Give me the card. I'll call Ramsey. Take a shower. Run the water as hot as you can get it. Think about last night in the pool. When you get out of this shower, this will all be a distant memory. A man like Mickey Tilford doesn't just disappear. Cops will be crawling all over this place. No, they won't. Ramsey is exceptional at what he does, and so am I. Now go get in the shower, and maybe if Ramsey is fast enough, I can join you. He touched my face to ground himself, then kissed me and walked inside. I stood there looking at Mickey Tilford's body, his brains peppering the grounds. I tried to think about how I felt. The night I lost them, my father lay on the ground much the same way, murdered in cold blood. I could see myself in my nightgown, my family's blood staining it, the flames licking up the sides of the wall, running to false safety. Out of nowhere, the emotion hit me like a sledgehammer, and a sound that was foreign to me. It was me. The sound was a gasp and a sob. My knees started to buckle. I folded to the ground, and the grief that had been bottled up for ages came bubbling up and erupting at the surface. I could hear myself keening like an Irish mother who'd lost all her sons to the war. I couldn't understand why I was so powerless to stop it. I pulled my knees to my chest and buried my face at the knees. The grief crashed over me in wave after wave of crushing pain and guilt. I felt abandoned and alone, and as if that pain and guilt were carrying me out to sea. Something inside of me had broken, and I wasn't sure how to mend it. Inside those seconds and minutes, I wasn't even sure I could. I kept seeing Tilford's face the moment the shock registered that someone had dared stand up to him. His tracking of me, the moment the blood sprayed across Matthew's face and Mickey's brains went all over the concrete. I started juxtaposing Matthew's face and body with my father's. The sobs shook my body and pain steeped into my bones. I was grieving that night as I had never allowed myself to grieve before, because it sure as hell wasn't for Mickey Tilford. The hero of that night had been Matthew Childe, a 17-year-old boy, a boy I had idolized. My head swam, my throat was raw. I was trapped in a cage of my own making. Every cell in my body was screaming for relief. In the background, there were footsteps. I felt a hand on my shoulder. I looked up. I was a scared little rich girl with no idea how she had arrived at that point. It was Ramsey. I see our past has caught up with you. I don't know what this is about. Everyone breaks in this business. It just takes longer for some than others. Have you, reached an unexpected breaking point several times? How did you handle it? Find someone who is the opposite of this business and disappear into the world for a while. But won't you break them? The trick is not to stick around for too long. Maddie, he was a part of this, at least peripherally. He saved you once. Am I right? Then lean on him. Yes, then lean on him. I did that in front of him. I think he's in shock. You don't say. That's a hell of a mistake. If you could see the look on his face. I know that look. I've had that look. It reminded you of you. And that's what broke me. Empathy is an indulgence and a luxury that leads to vulnerability and weakness. I regarded Ramsey as as a mentor. He was way older. I hated to think he'd be leaving the job soon. His back was curved and his hair white from years of backbreaking and grotesque labor. You don't usually watch this part of the sausage being made. I slipped my shoes off and stood up. Thanks for talking me off the ledge, Ramsey. Think nothing of it. Even as I walked through Matthew's palatial estate, I listened for the shower. Matthew was where I wanted to be, somewhere I could wash the memories away. But my limbs were so heavy, my lids so very sleepy. I'd forgotten what it was to cry like that and what crying like that did to your body and spirit. Some argued that it was a catharsis. Me, it was my experience that tears like that only led to more tears like that. It was a downward spiral that was almost impossible to get out of. I came to the grand staircase and slowly ascended them. Gun and shoes in hand, I tried to forget what had just happened and feel the physical around me. My feet slid against the cool marble floors. My hands took in the smooth wooden banister. At the top of the staircase, I spied the heavy oak doors with brass handles. I was It was the master suite. Slow steps brought me to the outside of the door. I placed my hand on it, hesitating to open it. And then magically, the door opened, and there he was. A CD of mine was playing. He was fresh out of the shower and wearing pajama bottoms and an open satin robe. And again, I was that lost little girl. He took my gun and shoes, setting them aside. I heard you out there. You don't have to keep living that life. I don't know any other life. Then learn to live mine with me. I said nothing. I just walked into his waiting arms and prayed for the pain to stop, and the tears began to fall again.